we did our measuring, and I don't know, it's been a while, so you guys might have forgotten, but remember how many fractions are in an inch?
16.
Very good, 16. So remember, each one of those lines is 1/16, right?
Yeah.
But if you have 2/16, we don't say 2/16. You remember what we say? If you take 2, if you divide 2 in half, what do you get? 1. And if you divide 16 in half, what do you get? If you cut 16 in half, what do you get? What's half of 16? It's 8, right? So 2/16 is 1/8. That's what we were trying to remember. And I gave you guys a little chart. And you can still use that, and we'll practice with that. But because once we don't practice, we start to forget these, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing you can practice with over here. I've got this thing, right? It's an inch, and this is the decimal. Like if you were doing it in your math class, you know, you usually don't write 1/8 and 1/16 in your math class. You write like 1/16 in your math class is 0.0625, or a half in your math class. You don't write 1-2 like we do in carpentry. You write 0.50, right? So I have that here, so you can practice that. And then a good practice is our roof thing. So a roof run is always 12 inches. So look, I got 12 inches, right? And then the rise, the architect gives us the rise. So it's 3 inches is the rise, and measure 3, you see? Now, if I take a straight line like this, and if I diagonal it up, and let's say I'm going straight along this block wall here, right? If I go up 3 inches, is the line from here up 3 inches going to be longer than the line down here that goes straight? Huh? It is, right? Because remember that saying, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, right? So I'm going straight to that point, right? But here, I'm going up at a diagonal, so the line gets longer, right? And that's how our roof rafters lay out. So I measure up 3 inches. Now look, I'm gonna measure here. You guys are you're gonna see that it's more than 12 inches, right? And you know how much more it is? It's over here on our pitch indicator. It's a 3 pitch, so we slide over to 312. It says 12.37. What's 12.37 of an inch? 12 is the whole inches, 0.37 is the fraction, and that's how you would say it up in your math class. But let's come down here, find it in your math class, 0.37, and slide over to what we say in carpentry, and what is it?
3/8.
3/8, yeah, okay, get it? So let's do a 12 pitch. So we go in 12, up 12, we measure the diagonal. Now look, here's 12, like I said. But look when I turn 12 this way, look how much shorter it is. Because we're going up in a diagonal. We're not going to that straight point, we're going diagonally, right? So you can see how much more it is, right? So I got my ruler here at 12. How much more is it? I'm gonna come over to my chart, look down, a 12 and 12 pitch. Remember we did 3 and 12, now we're going 12 and 12. And it says here, the length of that is 16.97. And what's 0.97 of an inch? You might say that up in your math class, but here in carpentry we say it in a fraction form. So let's go down the decimal. 0.97. I don't even have 0.97 here. I have 0.9375, and then from there it goes to 1. So it's somewhere between 15/16 and 1 inch, right? Now, 15/16 is 0.9375, but this is 9.7. So that's more than halfway to the 1 inch mark, right? Yeah. So we got to round up to the inch, just like you do in math. You do your roundups in math, right? You know, we'll talk about that. So what happens? It basically 0.97 is so close to an inch when it's a 16th that we call it the inch. So the length of that, technically, we could say is 17 inches. Now let's measure that, okay? So I got 12 right there. I'm gonna mark 12, and how many more inches should I have, guys? If I'm trying to find 17.
7.
If I have 12 inches, how many more inches am I trying to find? I'm trying to get to 17 inches. And I have 12 inches on the ruler. And I need to go how many more? 17 minus 5. Good. And do I have 5 inches there, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, again, I know this is a lot, but it's something to look at and practice, okay? When you got free time in the shop, between the cutting and assembling of our step stool and things, these are the type of things I want you guys to come over and practice instead of listening to those other goofballs walking around the shop, okay? All right? So these are here. They're all over the shop. Here's a good example of practicing so that you guys can master the ruler. Remember? You just said it to me, Nick. There's 16 sixteenths, right? So this is a giant inch. 1/16, and remember I said 2/16 is an eighth. 3/16, 4/16, 5/16. Now this is 6/16, but we say 3/8. And going back to what I said over there, if I double this, if I make it 6 and 16, it makes sense, I hope, right? 5/16, 6/16. But I can cut this in half to 3, and I can cut this in half to 8, and that's where I get 3/8, okay? So you gotta practice that. 7/16, a half, 9/16, all the way up, all right?
Yeah.
So just another thing for you guys to look at. All right, cool.